Hi! Some time ago I showed you how to make an app that uses triangulation to measure how tall something is. Today we'll use triangulation again and make a new app that tells how far something is. Like that island. The app works in two steps. First, we need to find a reference point, and I'm gonna use this one. Then, while facing the island, I figure out the direction perpendicular to this one here, and move a certain distance away. From here, we point the device towards the reference point, press set, rotate towards the island, and there you go. The island is about 650 meters away, give or take. The sensor in my phone is not that accurate. But for a quick estimation, it will do. This kind of app is really useful if you plan to build a bridge or a similar structure and you want to know how much material you're gonna need to estimate the costs. Anyway, if you're interested in these kind of things, check out my location-aware application development course here on YouTube. It starts off with the fundamentals, but then moves to build real applied things like sports trackers, location-based games, even a routing app that tells you how to go to avoid the wind. They are university lectures, so they are much slower paced than this kind of video, but they are filled with tips, tricks, debugging techniques, and questions my students ask. So if you really want to learn, that's the place to go. Now, let's start coding. We begin with basic HTML. In the head, we write the title of our page, and because this is intended to run on mobile, we'll add the viewport meta tag. It'll help get the layout just right. Now I'll refer to an external CSS file and a JavaScript file like this. These are empty for now. Inside the body, I'll define a canvas with ID myCanvas. And when the body loads, I'll call a function called main. Moving to the JavaScript file, I just define a simple main function here to test if it works. And it does. Now, if I open the elements, the canvas is here in the top left corner, but this app will primarily use the canvas as the display, so we'll need to make it be the size of the window, like this. You can see now it covers the entire window, but the body has a default margin. I'll make that go away and remove the scroll bars as well by setting overflow to hidden. Now the canvas covers the screen perfectly. I'll set the background of the body to a dark gray and prepare the font color to be white. Next, we'll need to access the device orientation. We do that by defining an event listener like this with a callback function called onOrientationChange. I'll just log the event info here for now, like this. And you can see something in the console already. But these alpha, beta, and gamma angles are null, no matter how much I shake my laptop, because it's not equipped with an orientation sensor. To test, I'll use the developer tools. I go here to More Tools and Sensors. This one here is a fake orientation sensor we can use to debug. We see how the device orientation event triggers like this. Today we'll be concerned with the alpha angle. It's the one that changes when we rotate the phone like this. Let's draw this angle on the canvas next. I'll define a radius, which is a bit less than half the minimum of the width and height, and use the canvas context to begin drawing a path with a white color. We move to the center of the canvas and draw a vertical line segment the size of our radius, like this. Now I want to draw another line segment in the direction of the alpha angle. So I'll begin another path and set a blue stroke color. I then move again to the center of the canvas and line to somewhere. We'll need to calculate the location of this tip that moves next. When we rotate the phone, we are essentially drawing a unit circle. So I'll make this relative to the center of the canvas and scale it by the radius. We use the cosine on the x and the sine on the y. Now, these angles here are in degrees, but should be in radians. We convert them like this. If I refresh and drag the device around like this, we'll see the blue segment rotating according to the value of the alpha angle. But as in the unit circle, an angle of 0 means it's going to be pointing to the right. I want it to point upwards to match with my white line from earlier. So I'll add here an offset of minus 90 degrees, or minus half pi in radians, and I'll fix the angle using it like this. I now replace the value here with this fixed angle and clear the canvas before redrawing every time the angle changes, like this. Now when we rotate and the angle is around 0, the moving tip is up. Good. Next, I'll add an arc to show the actual angle. I begin a path and use a blue fill this time to draw the arc. The arc is centered in the center screen, has a rad radius, and begins at an offset of 90 degrees and ends at our fixed angle. If I refresh now, it's interesting, but maybe not exactly what we expect. To make it look like a pie slice, we add a line back to the center here like this. Now this arc grows as alpha increases, but once alpha is over 180 degrees, I want the arc to appear on the other side. In that way, we'll be able to estimate distances on both sides of the reference point. I just check if the moving tip is on the right side of the screen. And if it's not, I'll draw this arc with this last parameter set to true, which means it will draw it counterclockwise. I move now this code up here and test. It now works more like we expect. But it makes no sense to rotate more than 90 degrees. That would mean we're pointing away from the reference point. So if the moving tip is in the bottom part of the screen, I'll mark this in red to give some feedback to the user that the app is not used as intended. Good. Now we need to make a note of the angle when facing the reference point. So I'll add a button with an on-click function called reset. In CSS, I put this button in the center screen like this. The reset function will store the value of our angle inside this other global variable called angle to reference point. We also need to use this value here when calculating our fixed angle value so that the difference to the reference point is used instead of the raw alpha value. I refresh, rotate the phone to some arbitrary angle and press set. Now the angle to the reference point is already updated, but we won't see any changes unless we shake the phone here a bit. In real, this sun orientation change will trigger all the time. The sensor is very sensitive, so we only get this issue when testing here in the console and don't need to worry about it. So now you can see the moving tip resets to the direction of the reference point, and we're now measuring the relative angle to that. We can pretend to have another reference point here on the left and see if it works. Now we can get a feel of how it would look on a mobile by pressing here. We see this button is a bit small. I'll make it slightly larger by setting a padding of 5 and font weight to bold. Should be easier to press. I'll also change the font to Arial throughout the body. Okay, what's left to do is the actual distance estimation. And if you saw my video on how to measure the height of the tree, the math is exactly the same if you think the reference point is the base of the tree and the island is the top. So, in short, we know this angle and the distance to the reference point. The tangent of this angle is the distance from the reference point to the angle divided by the distance from us to the reference point, and we can get the value of the tangent in JavaScript like this. So, substituting, we get this distance. We can also get this other distance quite easily if we need that instead, but I'll make the app output the distance from the reference point to the object. So in code, we need a way to set the distance to the reference point, and I'll use a slider for that. I'll give it a default value of 40 meters, and a minimum of 1 and a maximum of 50. You can set higher values than these if you think you'll need it. In general, if you measure really far objects, you should go further away from the reference point. Otherwise, this angle is too close to 90 degrees, and that means the end of the universe as we know it. Now, if this slider represents a very large range, it may be difficult to drag it to an exact value, so you may need to have a way for the user to type it in instead. Anyway, back to the app. I'll also add a div here to write the slider value on the screen, otherwise user won't know what it is. Now if I refresh, we'll see the slider. I'll go to CSS and align it to center like this. Now this slider is quite small and hard to press, so I'll give it a custom style in CSS. First, I remove the default style like this, and set new width, height, and background like so. I'll also add a margin to the top because you don't want pressable things too close to the side of the device. I'll also make the thumb the same size as the slider width and make it white like this. Better, I think. Now the distance to the reference will be whatever this slider says, and I'll also update the label on the screen to show distance to reference and the slider value in meters. Now I refresh, rotate, and we see some things happening. The text is here under the slider. It doesn't update when moving the slider, but we don't need to worry about that. As I mentioned earlier, the orientation sensor is very sensitive, and the device orientation event will trigger pretty much all the time. So the value will change instantaneously as we drag. The font size here is a bit small though. And something happened to the canvas here. It was pushed downwards by these new elements, and this point no longer aligns with the set button here. Let's fix these issues. I'll add a larger font to the label and to the button as well. Too big is usually better than too small when working on mobile. Now, if I click on the canvas, I can go here to Styles and see how to get it to look good. I'll add absolute positioning and a top and left of 0. If you look closely, you'll see this moved the canvas on top of the other elements. So we won't be able to press the set button anymore unless we change the z-index of the canvas to be lower, like this. This looks good now, so I'll copy this style here. Okay, now that things look good, back to the estimation part. To get the distance to the target, we need the original angle here by subtracting the offset. We only added the offset before for visual purposes. We then multiply the tangent value by the distance to the reference. I'll log this in the console for now, and you can see the distance increasing as we rotate away from the reference point. This is good. Then, when the arc turns red, we have some values that are not proper. We're pointing in the opposite direction from the reference point, so we'll need to discard those. And then we get some negative values on the other side. The absolute value of those is the proper distance estimate. And when we press the set button again, the estimated distances are now as expected. Good. So I'll modify this to let because the value will change soon. and modify this to the absolute value here. Then, when the angle is obtuse here, I'll force this to be 0 so that the user knows that something's wrong. Finally, I'll write the estimated distance 70% from the top side of the screen, so below the button like this. Now, the font is way too small here and the text isn't centered. Let me just change this to 55 pixels Arial and center it like this. And we're done. If you're curious to know how good this estimate is, stay tuned for the next video in the series, where I actually go to the island and use GPS to measure the distance. See you guys.